And I last week did a long phone discussion with Jackson Wheat, a student at Louisiana State University, and we put it up on YouTube and have had many comments. Jackson did a wonderful job trying to defend the evolution religion, as I call it, but he put up a YouTube recently, and someone called my attention to it, reflections on my conversation with Kent Hovind.
Hello everyone, and welcome back. I apologize for not doing a video in so long, but college gets in the way of everything. Anyways, I uploaded a 3-part conversation that I had with creationist Kent Hovind over the phone, and I wanted to take time to go through some things. I'll talk about some things I did wrong, some things I can work on in the future, and some claims I didn't get to respond to given the nature of our conversation. So let's dive right in. To begin, I want to point out that the conversation was very respectful, which I suppose is the most important aspect of it, and this fact was noticed by numerous people in the comment section of his videos.
Well, thank you so much, Jackson. You were very respectful also, and I appreciate that. I think if you watch any of my debates, I've done about 120 of them now, I think I'm respectful in all of them.
This is a blatant, egregious lie. Hovind is incredibly rude, disrespectful, and antagonistic in almost all of his debates, slinging personal insults, giving out personal information, ignoring his opponents, and just being generally dismissive and rude.
I think if you read the comments and watch the reaction of some of the atheist revolutionists, they are not very respectful. So I very much appreciate your being respectful in this, and we can do it again anytime you want. Okay, anytime. Just name the time and place, and let's do it. If you can get any other evolutionists or atheists or anybody who disagrees with the creation story, let's have another debate done. I won't do it one-on-one where nobody's going to watch it, but if everybody's going to see it and profit from it, I'll be glad to do it again.
I have a tendency to become somewhat heated in conversations like these with other people, generally when they occur in person, but this encounter was very calm, for which I am thankful.
All right, it sounds very much, Jackson, like you're reading this, which is fine, just so folks are aware. I'm not reading anything. This is all impromptu for me, not that that's good or bad, just a fact.
If reading from a script isn't good or bad, then why stop Jackson's video to bring this point up? And how hypocritical is it of Kent Hovind to say this when he's been reading from the same script for the past 3 decades?
So, yes, I think it was very respectful, and there's no need for conversations to get heated. I am for truth and against error. That's all. If the truth leads to evolution being true, I'll follow it, but I don't think it leads there. And so I just want the truth exposed and error exposed.
Now, without further ado, what did I get wrong? My most important mistake was having this conversation over the phone. However, I could not have known that in advance. The reason this was such a pivotal mistake is that Hovind had total control over the medium at all times.
Now hold on, Jackson, that is simply not true. You called me and started this, and I asked after you called me if I could record the conversation, and we started over. So it was your choice to do the phone. I didn't have control over this. You got to talk as much as I did. You had control over what you said, and I had no preparation time at all for this. And by the way, the picture you have of me is somebody put up a reverse image. I part my hair on the right, and that one has it parted on the left. So somebody reversed the picture years ago, and it still circulates around the web, so minor detail.
Stop winking!
So no, you didn't. It wasn't that you didn't have control over the situation. You could say whatever you wanted. I think we went an hour and a half. I gave you plenty of time, all the time I had, and we can do it again if you'd like. So I have to disagree with your comment there, Jackson. You had control of your side. Now, if you're feeling bad because most people are commenting that you lost, I don't think it's because you weren't in control. I think it's because you're on the wrong side of the argument. Evolution is stupid. It doesn't happen. It's a religion. That's why.
I could only speak when he allowed.
That's not true. You spoke as much as you wanted.
How would you know that he got to talk as much as he wanted to? He just said that he didn't. And it's obvious to me that Jackson is right here, and you're proving him right, Kent, by slamming on the spacebar and stopping the video before he even has a chance to finish his sentences, just like you did all throughout the R and Raw video exchange debate, because you couldn't debate him live.
You didn't speak when I allowed. I did stop you and from going on with, you accused me in a minute of doing the Gish Gallop. It's you that does that, as we'll see here. But no, you could talk about any topic you wanted, ask any questions you wanted, make any statements, but I want to stop line by line and dissect it, that's all. That's perfectly reasonable. So no, this is not true so far about me controlling the conversation.
These observation experiments come from biogeography, the fossil record, phobology, geology, embryology,
Hold on,
atomism.
slow down. Before you list all these, let's go take them one at a time. You're saying you came to this.
I was just making a point about those are what have pushed me to accept evolution, but we don't have to get into those.
No, I think you named them. I think we need to take them one at a time. Because
I still wanted to get to the points you mentioned earlier about multicellular organisms and human mutations.
Okay, so here's a good example of Hovind controlling the conversation, because they spend the next 10 minutes plus talking about embryology, the fossil record, and anatomy, when Jackson specifically said that he wanted to talk about multicellular organisms and human mutation.
I don't want people to slip in lies and move on with something else, and that often happens in these discussions on evolution. They'll make a statement on one topic that isn't true and then move off to something else and leave that statement hanging, and I don't want that. Let's go line by line. You can do that with me.
If he wanted me to stop, then he could make me do so with ease. Perhaps.
I don't think the phone or Skype or anything will make any difference there. I think I've always said for all my debates, I want one. You can have 10 against 1, but I want one topic at a time discussed. I get half the time, and we talk about one topic at a time. Perfectly reasonable.
Perhaps if I have another conversation with them, I should do it via Skype.
All right, Jackson, I have a Skype interview in 15 minutes here from or 20 minutes here from the office, and we can do it anytime you'd like. I don't think Skype's going to help. You're on the wrong side of the argument is the problem.
I'm pretty sure he meant if they have another debate over Skype with a moderator, that it would go better.
Talking periods. That said, he did let me air a good number of my points, and I feel that if someone came to the conversation looking to learn, then they probably did learn something.
I agree. I think a lot of people learned a lot of things. I think they learned that evolution cannot be defended. It's not viable. 2 + 2 is 5 cannot be defended logically.
Another mistake that I made was to use the word information while talking about genetics. I did define the word as what I expect it to mean with regard to genetics. That is, to me, information should mean protein coding genes. And I asked Hovind what he meant when he used the word. He never gave me a response.
Well, now hold on a minute. The genes do code information. How else can you say it? Just like a computer code that your computer is running, any computer program is running line after line after line of information. I disagree, Jackson. Now, come on, let's have this debate again. You can call in. You got my cell phone number. And we'll do it again and record it. There's nothing wrong with the word information. The DNA code contains enormous amounts of information. That little code tells you what color your hair is going to be and what color your eyes are going to be and each of the muscles in your body and the digestive system and the skeletal system. It is a phenomenal amount of information. There's nothing wrong with that word.
However, I should have avoided the word anyway because it lends itself to equivocation. Next, what can I work on in the future? Clearly, I let Hovind pull me around way too much.
In every generation throughout evolutionary time, there was no conscious foresight of what any organism is going to turn into. Every organism was just going through mutation, natural selection, and speciation, and it ultimately resulted in us as well as all the other organisms.
Well, now, hold on. No. You think it ultimately did that. You don't know that. That is how the story goes, but that's not science. Nobody saw this happen. Nobody sees it happen today. It is a religious teaching that single-cell organisms became humans over slow periods of time, over billions and billions of years. That is certainly what you're being taught, and that is what you voice here, but that is not part of science. It may be true. But even if it's true, it's not part of science in this case. A quadrillion examples, it's an example of something that can't be observed and studied and tested. It's a story. It's a fairy tale, I think. Now, single-cell organisms changing to multi-celled. Are you aware of 2 or 3 or 4 or 5-celled organisms that survive? That a dog and a wolf and a coyote are the same kind of animal, but each organism is doing the same thing. Are there any 2 cells in the universe that you're aware of, or 3-celled or 4-celled? And I can answer the question. This life form that has multiple functions is about probably maybe 200 cells working together. Now, come on now, Jackson. I didn't pull you around. I stopped you when you tried to go off to other topics. And let's settle this. I think you have been taught some things at your university that are simply not true. You have chosen to believe them as true and have determined to defend this, and it's just not common sense.
Common sense is what tells us that the Earth is flat, Kent. Science has no room for common sense, especially modern science like quantum mechanics and theoretical physics that go completely against the intuitive nature of common sense and have outcomes that are the complete opposite of classical mechanics. Your common sense and incredulity are irrelevant here. Anyway, this video is getting a little bit long, so I'm going to end it here, but let me know in the comments if you'd like to see a part 2 of this video. And be sure to like this video, check out my Twitter page, and if you'd like, check out my Patreon page if you want to support the channel further. Alright, remember to pay your taxes and have a nice day. Peace.